When I was in graduate school, I met a Navy SEAL sniper. He and his wife would come over to our house every so often for dinner. And when he would come over, I would ask him about his training as a Navy SEAL. And he told me all kinds of different stories. But the stories that really stuck with me were about Hell Week, a 5.5-day test that every person who wants to become a Navy SEAL has to go through in order to get to the other side and actually say, I'm a Navy SEAL. There are 3 aspects to Hell Week that make it incredibly difficult. The first part is that you're always engaged in some kind of physical activity. Sometimes you're crawling through the sand or you're jumping over barriers. You're carrying boats, you're carrying logs, you're sitting in the surf of the Pacific Ocean on the edge of hypothermia. Now you're doing all that with the second aspect, which is that now you have to do this on very little sleep. You're given 4 hours of sleep over that 5.5-day period. Most people just can't handle that level of sleep deprivation. And then on top of it, you also have the third aspect, which is that the Navy SEALs who run Hell Week, they're trying to mimic your inner voice. They're trying to tell you, you know what, you can leave at any time. You don't have to stay here if you don't want to. As a result, only about 25% of all people who start Hell Week finish it. But for those who do, they feel like they can accomplish anything. They can do anything they set their minds to. And my friend, he explained to me how for those who make it to the other side, not only do they earn your undying respect and loyalty, but they also earn your undying trust. And that's really important because as a SEAL, you're always doing things in teams. The nature of their assignments are often very dangerous, and so they want to ensure that the person who they're with has their back. And Hell Week is really where that trust begins. And my friend, he explained to me something I never really thought about before. In a normal relationship, when you're trying to build trust, it takes place over a series of months or years with little interactions that are kind of like mini tests for trust. Do you show up when you say you're going to show up? If I tell you something personal about myself, do you keep it a secret? If I need help, are you there for me when I reach out to you? And these are things that we all do with all of our relationships, where we start to figure out how much or how little can I trust this person. But when it comes to Hell Week, you're spending 132 hours with all of these individuals over that 5.5 days. And so you're compressing down what would normally take months or years into a very short period of time in some of the most difficult circumstances imaginable. And he told me that the only thing that even comes close to comparing to the bond of trust you have with your fellow SEALs is the bond of trust you would feel with a spouse. That's how deep it goes. So what I want to talk to you about today is, where does trust come from? How do we build trust over time? And when we've lost trust, how do we get it back? Will you join me in the kitchen? Because there's 2 people who are here today who I want to introduce you to, who are going to help us kind of start to really dive into what does it take to trust someone. Will you join me?